CHOPS, the rock and roll board game, a three-headed giant game from Quirky Engine Entertainment, you go against opposing rockers by forming your own bands and playing gigs. Gigs pay cashola to your band, but even more importantly, your band generates buzz. At the end of the game, the band with the most buzz wins. Here's how to set up the game. 2 to 5 players can play. Divide the cashola into stacks of 500s, 100s, 50s, 20s, 10s, and 5s. Put the respective stacks of bills on their designated spots on the board in the cashola area. Separate the venue cards from the rest of the deck. Shuffle the venue card deck and the market deck separately. Place the venue card deck face down on the venue draw pile space on the board. Deal 5 cards from the market deck to each player. Place the rest of the market cards face down on the draw pile area of the board. Players may look at their cards. If players have any fate cards in their hands, take them out. Slip them randomly back into the market deck. Draw new cards from the market deck until all players have hands with no fate cards. Shuffle the market deck once more for good measure. Place all of the Buzz guitar pick game pieces in a pile on the Buzz pit area of the board. Deal 4 venue cards face up on the street, the 4 spaces on the board marked venue. Give each player $500 from the cashola bank to start their band funds. Roll the die to see who goes first. That's it. You're ready to rock. How to play a turn. Turns are played in 3 actions. Once a player has played 3 actions, he or she must end his or her turn by putting up the universal sign of rock and roll and saying, "Rock on." Once this is done, there's no going back. That player's turn is over. Always keep your hand at 5 cards. Whenever you play a card, immediately draw a new card to replace it. Should you forget to draw a card and discover that your hand has less than 5 cards, tell everyone at the table that you need to draw. Turn actions. You may perform 3 actions in any order during your turn. Here are the actions. Play a gig. You may play only 1 gig per turn, unless you have an amp up card that says otherwise. Hire a musician, either from the hang or from your hand by paying the hire fee and putting the musician card in your band. Play an amp up, play as an action card. Play a rivalry, play as an action card. Break a musician's instrument to get rid of pesky rivalry and fate cards. Replace a musician's broken instrument by paying $200 to the bank. Put a musician from your hand into the hang and draw a new card from the market draw pile. Fire a musician from your band by putting his or her card in the hang. Discard an amp up or rivalry card from your hand and draw a new card from the market draw pile. Purchase a specialized instrument from your hand or from the chop shop area of the board and place it under one of your musician cards. Pawn a specialized instrument by placing it in the chops area of the board and taking its market value from the bank. Free actions. You may perform the following actions for free without using a turn action, even if it isn't your turn. Play an amp up, free play card. Play a rivalry, free play card. Smash musicians' instruments during a gig by turning the musician cards sideways. Pawn a musician's standard instrument for $150 by turning the musician's card sideways. Sell out by trading in buzz. For each buzz you discard to the buzz pit, you may draw $100 from the cashola bank. No avoiding fate. When you draw a fate card from the market draw pile, you must immediately play it. Fate affects all players instantly. Drawing and playing a fate card does not count as an action. Take a day job. Sometimes your band has to raise cash by taking odd jobs. You can do this by skipping your turn and taking $100 plus $50 for every musician in your band from the bank. End your turn. After playing your 3 actions, end your turn by flashing the universal sign of rock and saying, "Rock on," ending the game. The game ends instantly when the last venue card is turned face up and placed on the street. At the end of the game, all bands total their buzz guitar picks. The band with the most buzz wins the game. Your band, the rock on which all rocks rock. To earn cashola and, more importantly, buzz, you have to play gigs. To play gigs, you must have a band. Bands are made up of 1 to 5 musicians. You may have any combination of musicians in your band. You may have an all-drummer band or a band consisting of only 1 singer. You may not have more than 5 musicians in your band. As you hire musicians to join your band, place their cards face up, side by side in front of you, in plain view of all players. Musician cards. Musician cards have important information that can affect your band as a whole. Each musician comes with his or her own baggage. Some have major egos, some have depression issues, some have hots for others. Make sure you're familiar with the rules written on each musician card as you hire them into your band. Musician type. There are 5 different types of musicians in CHOPS: drummers, bass players, guitar players, keyboard players, and singers. CHOPS rank. Each musician has a CHOPS rank. The higher the number, the more proficient that musician is at playing his or her instrument. Bands play gigs by adding the total CHOPS ranks of all musicians, applying modifiers written on individual cards, and comparing the total with the required CHOPS rank of the venue they wish to play. Hire rate. This number is the amount you must pay a musician to hire him or her from the hang or from your hand into your band. Name. Pay attention to your musicians' names. The music world is a small one and word gets around. Certain musicians might not be so keen on working with other musicians. On the other hand, some musicians work magic when they're in the same band. Baggage. Make sure you're familiar with the baggage of each of your musicians. Baggage are special rules that apply to each musician that can affect your entire band. Injured musicians. If one of your musicians is injured, turn his or her card upside down. Injured musicians must sit out of an entire turn. At the end of your turn, you may heal injured musicians by turning their cards right side up. Killed musicians. The independent music scene can be risky. Sometimes musicians pay the ultimate price for their craft. Remove killed musicians from play by putting them on the market discard pile. Demoralized musicians. Sitting on the sidelines while your mates take the stage can be demoralizing. Should any of your musicians be forced to sit out of a gig for any reason, injury, being instrumentless, not having the CHOPS rank to cut it at the venue, or other card effects, you must roll to see if they will stay in your band. Roll for each sideline musician. On a roll of 1, the musician has become demoralized and will leave your band. All other players have the option of recruiting demoralized musicians into their bands. All interested players roll for each demoralized musician. Whoever rolls the highest number for a demoralized musician may recruit the musician into his or her band. Musical instruments. There are 2 types of musical instruments in CHOPS, standard instruments and specialized instruments. Specialized instrument cards increase musicians' CHOPS ranks. If a musician does not have a specialized instrument, then he or she has a standard instrument. There are no cards for standard instruments. Musicians simply come with their own instruments when you hire them into your band. Specialized instrument cards. An artist never criticizes his tools, but an artist also won't turn down a really freaking cool hammer. The same goes for musicians. You can increase your musicians' CHOPS ranks by purchasing specialized instruments. Specialized instrument cards have important information on them that can impact how hard your band can rock. You can buy specialized instruments either from the CHOPS shop or from your hand and play them underneath musician cards to increase your musicians' CHOPS ranks. Just slide them under your musician cards so that you can see the specialized instrument card information. You may not buy a specialized instrument if you do not have a musician in your band who can play it. In other words, you can't buy the salvo bass specialized instrument if you don't have a bass player. Market value. You may buy specialized instrument cards from either your hand or the CHOPS shop. To do so, pay the market value marked on the specialized instrument card to the bank and take the specialized instrument card. Specialized instruments hold their market value. You may, as a turn action, sell a specialized instrument by placing it in the CHOPS shop and taking the market value marked on the specialized instrument card from the bank. CHOPS rank bonus. Musicians with specialized instruments rock harder at gigs. Before playing a gig, add the CHOPS rank bonuses of specialized instruments to your musicians. This increases your band's overall CHOPS rank. Instrument type. The specialized instruments type shows who can play the instrument. You may only give specialized instruments to musicians with identical instrument types. In other words, your drummer cannot play the Andromeda keyboard, specialized instrument. Name and special information. Each specialized instrument has a name and a description. Get to know them. Undoubtedly, you'll learn to seek out your favorite specialized instruments as you play. Specialized instruments stay with their musicians. It goes without saying that musicians become attached to specialized instruments. It requires a turn action to sell a specialized instrument. Hence, should a musician with a specialized instrument be removed from your band as the result of a rivalry, amp-up, or fate card, or the effects of a venue card, the specialized instrument goes with your musician to his or her new destination. You may not hurry and sell the specialized instrument card before your musician leaves your band. Musicians without instruments. During play, you will often smash or pawn instruments. Should a musician lose his or her instrument by either smashing it or pawning it, that musician remains without an instrument until you can replace it. If you decide to smash or pawn one of your musician's specialized instruments, then the musician switches to his or her standard musical instrument and may play gigs normally. If you decide to smash or pawn one of your musician's standard instruments, then your musician becomes instrumentless and may not play gigs with your band. Turn instrumentless musician cards sideways. You may not add the CHOPS rank of an instrumentless musician to your band's collective CHOPS rank to play a gig. You must replace your musician's instrument before he or she can play gigs with your band. Replacing instruments. To replace a musician's standard musical instrument as a free action, pay the bank $200 cashola and turn your sideways musician card right side up. You may also buy a specialized instrument from your hand or from the CHOPS shop and give it to an instrumentless musician. Just turn the instrumentless musician card right side up and place the specialized instrument card underneath your musician card. Playing a specialized instrument card underneath an instrumentless musician also restores that musician's standard instrument. Should your musician lose his or her specialized instrument, do not turn his or her card sideways. He or she may play gigs using his or her standard instrument. Playing gigs. To earn cashola and, even more importantly, buzz, you must play gigs. It's time to hit the street. To play a gig, select a venue card from the street area of the board. Add up your band's CHOPS ranks and apply modifiers that come from your musician cards, from the venue card, and from other amp up, fate, or rivalry cards that affect your band. If your band's total CHOPS rank is equal to or greater than the venue's required CHOPS rank, then you're in. Players may react by playing additional rivalry or amp-up cards before or during your gig. Play the gig and collect your take from the cashola bank. Collect your buzz guitar pick playing pieces as marked on the venue card. Keep the venue card to track how many venue types your band plays. This will be important at the end of the game. After taking a venue card from the street, draw a new venue card from the venue draw pile to take its place. There should always be 4 venue cards in play. Venue cards. There are all kinds of venues, from seedy underground joints to brawling roadhouses, to high-class establishments that draw the brightest and best. Each venue card has important information that your band needs to know about the risks and rewards of playing there. Let's take a look. Venue name. It's not about how much you make, but about where you play. Each venue has its own way of dealing with bands. A lot of this is summed up in the name of the venue. Venue class. There are 3 classes of venues. Coffee houses are low-end joints, usually reserved for rookie bands and solo acts. They don't pay a lot, but they're a good way for new bands to cut their teeth. Dives pay more than coffee houses, but only employ up-and-coming bands with adequate chops. Show haunts pay the most, but with high pay often comes stringent rules and red tape. CHOPS requirement. This is the number of chops the venue requires for bands to play. Tally up the CHOPS ranks of all members of your band and apply modifiers from other cards such as special instruments, amp up, rivalry, and fate cards. Be sure to apply any modifiers from the venue card that you plan to play. If your band's total CHOPS rank is equal to or greater than the venue's CHOPS rank requirement, you may play the gig. Take. After playing a gig, collect the amount of cashola marked as take on the venue card from the cashola bank and add it to your band fund. Buzz. After playing a gig, take the venue's buzz reward in guitar pick playing pieces. At the end of the game, you will tally buzz one along the way to see if you're the ultimate rock machine. You may sell out to raise cashola for your bank. To do this, trade in as much buzz as you want as a free action and draw $100 per buzz from the cashola bank. Throw buzz guitar picks back into the buzz pit in exchange for cashola. House rules. A lot can go right while playing gigs, but then again, a lot can go wrong. Make sure you read the house rules as new venue cards come into play. Playing a gig might mean big money, but it also might mean injured musicians, seedy deals with crooks, and even alien abduction. Amp up cards. You may use amp up cards to get a leg up on other bands. The benefits of using amp up cards are written right on the cards themselves. You may play amp up cards on either your band or opponent's bands. There are a few important bits of information on each card, such as name. From silver tongue to pyrotechnics to replacement instruments, the name offers a quick view of what an amp up card does. Action type. The action type designates when amp up cards can be played. Here are the different play rules. Play as an action. Play this card during your turn as one of your 3 actions. Free play. Play at any point during the game as a free action, even during other players' turns. Rule. This section of amp up cards gives the special rules that apply when amp up cards are played. Just follow the rules and everything will probably be just fine. Rivalry cards. Play rivalry cards on your opponent's bands for any of the following reasons: revenge, spite, and malignance. You may also play rivalry cards on your own band. The benefit of playing rivalry cards are written right on the cards themselves. There are a few important bits of information on each card, such as name. From busting musicians for tax evasion to inciting bar brawls to possessing musicians with demons, rivalry cards are the go-to for spiteful, mean-spirited rockers. The name offers a quick view of what each rivalry card does. Action type. The action type designates when rivalry cards may be played. Here are the different play rules. Play is an action. Play this card during your turn as one of your 3 actions. Free play. Play at any point during the game as a free action, even during other players' turns. Rule. This section of the rivalry card gives the special rules that apply when they are played. Just follow the rule and everything will probably not be just fine. Fate cards. The gods of rock are fickle breed. Sometimes they meddle in the business of mere mortal rockers. Fate cards usually affect all bands at the table. When drawing replacement cards from the market draw pile, should you draw a fate card, play it immediately and draw another card to replace it. Playing a fate card never counts as a turn action. Although the effects of fate cards are written right on the cards themselves, there are a few general bits of information such as name. The name of the fate card usually gives a good idea of what is about to come down from rock on high. Act of fate. The act of fate is a special rule that all bands at the table must adhere to immediately and for the duration of time in which the fate card is in play. Counting buzz to declare the top rocker. Buzz represents the fame or infamy of your band. The band with the most buzz at the end of the game wins. The main way to get buzz is by playing gigs. There are other buzz rewards along the way and at the end of the game. In CHOPS, buzz is represented by guitar pick playing pieces. Guitar pick colors show their buzz values. Green guitar picks are worth 1 buzz. Yellow guitar picks are worth 5. Red guitar picks are worth 10. As you earn buzz along the way, just take the number of buzz earned in guitar picks and put them next to your band. You may get buzz throughout the game in the following ways. 1 buzz for every instrument destroyed during gigs. 3 buzz for the first band with 5 members. 4 buzz for the first band with 5 members, all with different instruments. 15 buzz for reuniting all 5 members of the Punk Cats into one band. The game ends when the last venue card from the venue draw pile is placed face up on the street. The following are additional buzz rewards for the hardest rockers at the end of the game. At the end of the game, check for these conditions. 2 buzz for any band with 5 musicians. 3 buzz for any band with 5 musicians, all different instruments. 1 buzz for every member of the Punk Cats in your band. 3 buzz to the band who played the most coffee houses. 2 buzz to the band who played the most dives. 1 buzz to the band who played the most show haunts. 2 buzz to the band who played the most gigs. At the end, all players count buzz by tallying their guitar picks. Whoever has the most buzz is declared the top rocker and winner of the game. Other essential rules. The following rules solve most disputes that occur while playing CHOPS. Discarding musician and specialized instrument cards. You may not discard musician or specialized instrument cards from your hand to the market discard pile. Musician cards must be placed face up on one of the 5 spaces in the hang, a special area of the board. Specialized instrument cards must be placed face up on one of the showroom spaces in the chop shop, another area of the board. Players may use turn actions to either buy specialized instruments from the chop shop or to hire musicians from the hang. Full market. There are only 5 showroom spaces in the chop shop on the board. Hence, only 5 specialized instruments may be in the market at one time. If you want to sell a specialized instrument and the market is full, you must discard a specialized instrument card from one of the chop shop spaces and place your card on the newly empty space. Full hang. There are only 5 spaces in the hang on the board. Hence, only 5 musician cards may be in the hang at one time. If you want to fire or discard a musician and the hang is full, you must discard a musician card from one of the spaces in the hang and place your musician card on the newly empty space. The dreaded girlfriend card. The girlfriend becomes band manager card may only be played on male musicians. The girlfriend, for all intents and purposes, acts like another member of the band. Any amp-up, rivalry card, or venue effect that otherwise is played on a musician card may be played on the girlfriend. The girlfriend may be selected for such tragic duties as joining the Coast Guard, going to jail for tax evasion, being abducted by aliens, making a deal with a seedy club owner, etc. Musicians come clean from the hang. Any injured musician, card upside down, sent to the hang is automatically healed. Turn the card right side up when they are moved to the hang. Any musician without a musical instrument, card turned sideways, receives a new musical instrument, turn the card right side up, when they are moved to the hang. Hence, a player may heal a musician or repair a musician's instrument by firing the musician as an action and placing the musician card in the hang, then rehiring that musician as an action by paying the musician's hire rate. It requires 2 turn actions to fire and rehire a musician. Need cashola? There are always ways to raise cashola in CHOPS. They're explained in earlier rules, but here's a quick summary. As a free action, sell out by trading Buzz guitar pick playing pieces in for $100 for each Buzz point. As a free action, pawn standard musical instruments. To do so, rotate any number of musician cards sideways and draw $150 per instrument sold from the cashola bank. Remember that it takes $200 or a replace instrument card to replace a broken or pawned musical instrument. As a turn action, sell a specialized instrument. You may sell specialized instrument cards either from your hand or from musician cards in your band. To sell a specialized musical instrument, place it on one of the CHOPS shop spaces and collect the full market value of the instrument from the cashola bank. Work odd jobs. You may skip your turn and take odd jobs for extra cash. To do this, forgo your 3 actions and collect $100 plus $50 per musician card currently in your hand from the cashola bank into your band fund. For quick reference and your convenience while playing CHOPS, you'll find important information printed on the back of your rulebook. There is the Along the Way Buzz Rewards, End of the Game Buzz Rewards, Turn Actions, and Free Actions. Good luck, rock on, and have fun.